James sat frozen at the dining table, his fork trembling above the untouched steak. His wife, Anna, sat across from him, her expression strangely calm, almost casual, as though she were commenting on the weather. "Don't be dramatic, James," she said with a half-smile. "It's just one night with the man I've dreamt about since college." The words hit James like a bullet. He stared at her, trying to process what she had just said. The love of his life, the woman he had built a home with, the woman who once whispered that he was her forever, was asking him to stand aside while she fulfilled a fantasy. Before he could respond, Anna picked up her purse, stood up, and walked toward the door. James's voice caught in his throat. He wanted to scream, to beg, to rage, but instead, silence filled the room like a heavy fog. He sat there, broken, hearing only the echo of the door slamming shut. If this story already has you hooked, please take a moment to like, share, and comment your thoughts below. And don't forget to subscribe to Whispers of Kindness for more heartfelt and emotional stories that speak to the soul. That night, James barely slept. The house that once felt alive with warmth now seemed like a cold, empty shell. He lay staring at the ceiling, questioning every moment of their marriage. Had he been a bad husband? Had he missed signs that she was unhappy? Or had it all been a lie from the start? When Anna returned the next morning, James noticed something in her eyes he hadn't seen in years, an emptiness, as if she had lost part of herself. She looked at him briefly and said, "It's done." It meant nothing. "Can we move on now?" James wanted to shout, "Move on? How can I move on when you've shattered me?" But instead he whispered, "Why, Anna? Why wasn't I enough?" She had no answer, just silence that cut deeper than any words could. The days that followed were like walking through fog. James tried to distract himself with work, burying himself in deadlines and paperwork. But every time he came home and saw Anna, the wound reopened. She avoided eye contact, buried herself in her phone during dinner, and her laughter was gone. The distance between them grew wider, like a canyon too deep to cross. One evening, James found himself staring at their wedding photo. He remembered the vows they had exchanged, the way Anna's eyes had sparkled when she said forever. Now those vows seemed like fragile promises lost in time. Desperate, he turned to his best friend, Mark. Over coffee, James poured his heart out, and Mark listened quietly before speaking. "James, you've got to decide. Are you going to let her betrayal define you, or are you going to rise above it? Sometimes strength means walking away, and sometimes it means forgiving in ways you never thought possible." James sat in silence, unsure which path to take. One stormy night, Anna broke down. She sat on the living room floor, tears streaming down her face as rain lashed against the windows. "I don't know why I did it," she sobbed. "I thought it would fill something in me, but instead, it hollowed me out. I've been so lost, James. I don't even recognize myself anymore." For the first time since that night, James saw the woman he had fallen in love with. Vulnerable, broken, and deeply human. His heart ached, torn between anger and compassion. "Then why didn't you come to me?" he asked. "Why didn't you tell me instead of destroying us?" Anna buried her face in her hands, unable to answer. The next morning, James woke with a clarity he hadn't felt in months. He realized he had two choices: remain a prisoner of bitterness or take control of his own healing. That evening, he suggested counseling. Anna resisted. "It won't fix us," she said, her voice hollow. "Maybe not," James replied, "but it might fix you. And me too. We both need healing, whether together or apart." Reluctantly, she agreed. Therapy sessions were brutal. They stripped away the polite masks and forced them to confront raw truths. James realized how much he had neglected his own happiness, always trying to anchor Anna, while Anna admitted she had chased illusions, thinking love should feel like fireworks every day. Slowly, the walls began to crack. They laughed again, cautiously, remembering late-night drives and silly dances in the kitchen. But forgiveness didn't come overnight. Some nights, James lay awake, haunted by images of Anna with someone else. Other nights, Anna questioned whether he would ever trust her again. Trust, once broken, is like shattered glass, fragile, with cracks that never fully disappear. James wrestled with this reality daily. Should he forgive fully, or would this wound always bleed? One afternoon, while walking together in the park, James finally spoke. "I don't know if I'll ever forget, Anna. Maybe it's not about forgetting. Maybe it's about choosing, every day, to see who we are now, not who we were when it all broke. Anna squeezed his hand gently. And I'll spend every day proving to you that you're enough. Because you always were. Months passed, and on what would have been their anniversary, James invited Anna to dinner. She expected roses, maybe an attempt to renew their vows. Instead, he slid a small box across the table. Her hands trembled as she opened it to find not a ring, but a simple key. Confused, she asked, "What is this?" James smiled softly. "It's the key to my new apartment. I'm moving out for a while." Anna's eyes widened. "James, I thought we were healing." "I thought we are," he interrupted gently. "But healing doesn't mean staying in the same house pretending everything is fine. I need space to rediscover myself, Anna, to learn who James is outside of this pain. Maybe we'll find our way back, but right now I need to stand on my own." It wasn't revenge and it wasn't abandonment. It was self-respect. Anna wept at the realization that the most shocking response she could have expected wasn't anger or cruelty, but strength. James moved out, not to end things, but to breathe, to heal. In his new space, he embraced hobbies, reconnected with friends, and volunteered at a local shelter. He felt alive again, not defined by betrayal, but by resilience. Anna, meanwhile, faced her demons in therapy alone. She learned to let go of fantasies and appreciate reality. She began journaling and confronting the emptiness she had carried for years. After 6 months, they met for coffee. This time, the air was lighter. They spoke not as broken spouses, but as two people who had survived a storm. "Maybe we'll find our way back," James said with a hopeful smile. "Maybe," Anna replied softly. "And if we don't, I'll still be grateful for the love we shared." They both knew life was unpredictable, but they had found peace in honesty. This story isn't about fairy tale endings. It's about resilience, self-respect, and the courage to heal even when your heart feels shattered. James's shocking response wasn't to fight or crumble, but to choose himself. And in choosing himself, he found strength that inspired even Anna. We often think love means holding on no matter what. But sometimes, true love begins with letting go of illusions, resentment, and even of each other if that's what healing demands. If this story touched your heart, I would love to hear your thoughts. What would you have done in James's place? Share your feelings in the comments below because your voice matters. And don't forget, please like, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness for more stories that carry lessons of hope, healing, and strength. Your support helps us keep spreading kindness, one story at a time.